Hello, I'm Recoded Zaphod, and welcome to a resource pack release video. So you can see from the outset that everything looks a little odd, and it's because this resource pack is for showing with colour which blocks are spawnable and making it easier to light up areas. So you might know this, but you might not. Mobs can only spawn in the overworld at light level 7 or less. So if you've got, your village in 1.14 and you need to light it all up to stop zombies appearing and killing off all your villagers, then you want to know where it is that you can and can't have zombie spawning. So you can see over here, I've specifically made this so that it doesn't care about skylight. So in Minecraft, there's two light levels at any block. So if we go here, and you'll see here on the screen that it gives the light levels of the skylight and the blocklight. And this block here is light level 15 sky and 8 block. So the skylight, during the day, it does stop mobs from spawning there. But if we go to nighttime, you can see up there still it says 15 skylight. So it counts the skylight, not the sunlight, which means that during the nighttime, even though it's got a light level of 15 sky, mobs can still spawn out here. Well, not here because it's got blocklight, but over on, say, this green bit, mobs can now spawn during the nighttime. If you're actually inside, so if you're, under shelter, like under here, you won't have any skylight. So you'll see up there, the skylight's gone down to 0. So you can end up with a situation where you've not got any skylight, but you have got blocklight, and that can block the spawns instead during the daytime. And of course, that stays with light up at nighttime as well. So yeah, this is what this pack is designed for. So you'll see the normal sort of colour. It's quite bright compared to sort of normal colours, particularly at nighttime, because at nighttime it usually gets darker. But this normal section, mobs cannot spawn there. It's spawn proofed by light. Then once you get to the green, that is where it's gone to 7 block light. And that means mobs can spawn there either at nighttime or if you're inside a building or something like that and you haven't got the skylight. I've also added a couple of extra ones at the end here, just so you can see when it goes from blocklight 2 down to 1 and then 1 down to 0. Because this makes it much easier. If I find a patch of ground up here, if you place one torch, for example, over here, and you want to work out, okay, so I don't want any green because that would mean it can't spawn. What I can do is with torches, if I go to the purple here and put down torch, you can see there's one line of green left. So you need to put it on one of the blue blocks and that will stop the spawns. Although if you want to keep it nicely on the diagonal, the last green block will also do. So of course you can do this and then you can go on this diagonal, put it on that last green one, and then it stops all the spawns across here. And then you can lay out a grid of torches blocking all the spawns. And similarly for things like lanterns, which are actually slightly brighter than torches. So if you look here, you can see where the green ends. And then if I switch this, you should be able to see that is very so slightly different. It's 1 block further. So with the lanterns, you can actually put it, if you go along the diagonal, you'll actually end up on the blue one and stopping it. But if you go onto the the purple diagonal, you end up with the line. And if you don't mind about offsetting them, yeah, you can use these ones as well, and it blocks all the spawns in the lanterns, because lanterns start with 15, whereas torches start with 14. Alright, the next thing to notice is in the Nether, you can have blazes, and blazes actually spawn at a slightly higher light level. So if we go over here and put down a lantern, you can see you've got your same block light levels as before, but I've got this red band before the green. And this is basically light levels where blazes are able to spawn, but other things can't. It's just blazes that have this property, and of course that's only in Nether fortresses. But it's worth being able to see where it is in case you are trying to light up, your Nether fortress to stop all the blazes, as well as all the wither skeletons and zombie pigments and all of that. So yeah, there's a slightly smaller ring in here of the red, which blazes can spawn on, and then it switches to green again when it goes from 8 to 7, and then again to blue and then purple at 1 and 0 respectively. And I'm now in the end, and you can see the end is back to the same palette as the overworld is. So it doesn't have a red bit because of course blazes can't actually spawn anywhere in the end, and the endermen go by the 7 blocklight spawning rule, so that's the one you're going to care about up here. And again with the lighting levels, so from glowstone block, I want it on the blue, and you can see that just blocks the spawns directly. And if you want to do this, of course, diagonally, you can go to this one here. Almost. Because you've got the drop down here, so it doesn't quite work out. So that's something you need to pay attention to, because if it goes up a block or down a block, it can affect the lighting levels, so you don't actually always end up with your perfect shapes. Although depending exactly where it is and how steep it is, it can do. So for example, if I were to pillar up, say here, see, and from there you can see that one's become green because it's gone up a couple of blocks, even though beneath it would have been perfectly fine. I also want to draw attention to the fact that this works underwater as well. You can see here the top of the water is slightly lit up, with this one square here not being green. And if you go down, you can see there's a large area around here, around these sea pickles, which give off light, which is not spawnable. Although it is worth remembering with this that drowned, which spawn in water, I'm pretty certain they don't have to spawn on the ground at the bottom. So it could be that they spawn up here. But if you see that you've put all the lights at the far bottom and they've got the top all lit up, then you can tell that everything's lit up. So yeah, that's worth knowing. So yeah, you can see with the different sea pickle levels, it changes it up. I think it's worth pointing out that this requires Optifine to run, because it works through Optifine's light map system. So yeah, if you don't have Optifine, A, you probably should. It's really good and really useful for lots of other things. And B, I don't think this pack will run if you don't have Optifine. Although there are some things you should consider with Optifine, because there's lots of settings. You want to make sure your smooth lighting is off when you use this, because if you turn this on with the smooth lighting, you'll see it sort of blends. The colours are quite stark enough, you can probably tell which it is, but like with this block, can't tell whether that's the first green block or the last uncoloured block because it fades across it. So stuff like that, yeah, it's worth having your video settings with your smooth lighting off, and also dynamic lights. You want that off, because if you put those on and you're carrying a light source in your hand, like this end rod, and you go into a dark area, it's going to think it's lit up because you're holding a light source. And although that looks very pretty when you're normally playing and your held torch lights up your area, it's not very useful when you're working out whether or not the ground beneath you needs lighting up more to stop hostile mob spawns. So yeah, make sure that that setting is also off. So that's going to be it from this little showcase of this resource pack. I will have a link in the description to where you can download it if you want it. Hopefully you'll find it useful. I'm probably going to be using it anytime I'm lighting up an area. So yeah, I mainly made this because I wanted this sort of pack and I couldn't find any which both worked in 1.14 and ignored skylight. So yeah, that's why I decided to make this. Yeah, like I said, hope you find it useful. That's all from me for this little resource pack showcase. I've been Recoded Zaphod, and thanks for watching.